I'd like to call this special meeting of the Hinckley Township Board of Trustees to order on Tuesday, August 22 at 6:30 p.m. for the purpose of a public meeting. Call the roll. Augustine.
Here.
Asherle.
Here.
Sweattick here. The Hinckley Township Board of Trustees is going to discuss evidence concerning the cleanup of property pursuant to statutes ORC, pursuant to statutes ORC section 505.86, ORC section 505.87, and ORC section 505.871, and the next steps in abating the nuisance regarding property owned by Vaso Milajevic, located at 25 River Road, Hinckley Township, Medina County, permanent parcel number 016-03B-03-023. First, I would ask Tom, you want to come up?
I think
Tom?
we have to read the rest of it, Jack, just because that's a public notice that we put in.
The whole notice?
Yeah, copies of the documents.
Copies of the documents pertaining to the public hearing will be available for public viewing from the date of this notice to the date of the hearing at the administration office located in the administration building at 1410 Ridge Road during regular office hours, Monday, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m., Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, 9 a.m. to 2 p.m., and Friday, 9 a.m. to noon. Information may also be found on the Hinckley website at www.hinkleytwp.org under news and events. All interest parties are asked to attend this hearing. And now, Tom, if you would come up and just give us a summary of what's transpired and then today's inspection.
It's just for virtual.
Okay. Yeah, I'm Tom Zablotny from Hinckley Township, Assistant Zoning Inspector. And basically, we've just been dealing with this property at 25 River Road and trying to get it cleaned up with junk, debris, scrap metal, junk vehicles. And no action has been taken on part of the property owner, Vaso Milosevic. So we just, the township has gone through the procedure of trying to get him to clean up the property, and he's not acknowledging any phone calls, certified mails that he's in violation of the junk, debris, unlicensed junk vehicles. So throughout the course of time here, we've been going out and inspecting, and no progress has been made to this date. In fact, I just went out this morning to verify that no progress has been made on cleanup of the property. So yeah, we turn it over to the prosecutor's office, and now it's just a matter of trying to the township contracting someone to go in there and clean up the property.
Tom, can you just give us a recap? You had spoken with Chief Setner. I know he had relationship or conversation with the daughter who's related to this gentleman.
Yeah.
Any feedback from him?
No, yesterday I walked over to the police department and spoke with him and wanted, the status of, report of. And right now he said he hand delivered the court order or the cleanup order, resolution order from the prosecutor's office and to the daughter, and he hasn't heard anything from her. So
okay,
it's basically.
And just for the record, Mr. Milosevic,
Milosevic, I think it's
not in attendance this evening.
No, I don't see him.
All right, lacking his attendance or anyone from his family or any representative, I will open it up to discussion from the board.
I think we should move forward with the resolution that authorizes the township to clean up the property as next steps.
Couple things. I spoke with Chief Setner today as well, just to kind of follow up. And he told me everything that you just said. He had said, and, there was communication with kind of a plan to move forward with the children of the property owner, and all communication has really stopped since that initial communication. And in the spirit of moving forward with this, I feel that at this point, no steps have been taken. So I think that it comes down to credibility. We have to do what we said we would do with this. I have a couple of concerns with it. I had mentioned to you both, a couple months ago, and Chief Sentner kind of agreed with this also. I think that we should have police presence. If we're going to be sending someone onto this gentleman's property, I think that it's in everyone's best interest for safety, to have a police presence there.
Yeah.
Chief Sentner did agree with that, and he said, at least to begin the process with. Maybe it's going to be fine and we're not going to need them, but he thinks that we should have police presence, at least at the beginning of the process. And his payroll does not allow for that. So we would have to do this as a paid detail. So that would be something we would have to discuss in terms of timelines. But then also, I'm not sure that we can make the resolution tonight because of the press, release that we released. It said that this was going to be a public hearing to discuss this and to discuss next steps. In the past practice of what we did last year was we have a public hearing as a special meeting, and then we adjourn and have another special meeting for the resolution and vote.
I'm sorry,
Can you speak to that?
Sorry. So this is the second step in the process. You had the first public meeting would be the first set of resolutions, which were set out. The order was then published in the newspaper along with this second notice, which was published as the special meeting. So there has been the order in which was notified and he was hand delivered. So in this process, this would have been the hearing had he been present.
Mhm.
And he would have been able to present, if his family members or representative was here, he would have been able to come in and say, I did clean up, I did remove these. So you are legally permitted to move forward with the second resolution tonight. We've dotted all the i's and crossed all the t's and put in all the publications.
I don't think she's questioning that. I think she's questioning public notice says we discuss it tonight, and normally we would have to indicate that we would also be conducting a vote. Because it's a special meeting, it's not a regular trustee meeting.
But that's under the original notice.
Right.
The order was published on the 20th. Oh, I don't forget what date you published the notice and you handed him that notice.
We can still vote at a special meeting. We do it all the time.
Well, but we voted a special meeting when it is published as such. This
But
is not,
I'm
this
saying-
is not published that we will be voting on this. And please understand, I'm not against this. I'm just saying for protocol, because while I have been sitting at this table, we have had 2 public hearings, and both times we have had the public hearing as a special meeting. We have adjourned the special meeting, and then there is immediately another special meeting following that is for the purpose of the resolution and the vote. That is what we have done for the last year and a half since I have been at this table. That is,
Those were very different from these. So, and just for the record, this is Ms. Carroll from the Medina County Prosecutor's Office. Can you speak to that? Because it's my understanding in doing this in the past that we can make the resolution at the hearing.
Yes. And technically, we gave them a hearing date. The onus is technically by law, the onus is on the individual. He was supposed to contact you and set up a hearing date. We were very generous under the statute. We gave him 30 days and set a hearing date. If he wanted to move this date or change this date, he had every right to contact one of you guys to do that.
So just by saying that we're holding a hearing, we're allowed to vote on it?
Correct,
You're
because
saying?
you already said you were voting on it in your previous
I'm
public.
not talking about the individual involved. I'm talking about for legally allowing
Yes.
a vote at this meeting. tonight.
Yes.
We don't have to announce that we're going to be voting in any type of hearing or special meeting announcement. We regularly vote during those things.
I do not recall ever voting during a special meeting. That is why we have
I
our work
guess-
sessions. We
Sorry.
are,
In this
right,
instance,
right, but it's a
but in
special
this-
meeting.
but in this instance, you would be clogging the process in that you would be then having to publish another order, another notice, and another set of resolution costing additional money to publish that order stating that you now were going to vote on another date. We gave
have an
him-
Opinion from the prosecutor's office.
Yeah.
so we can-
So can I move forward with the resolution? This time I'd like to move to adopt resolution 082223-01 to remove the garbage, refuse, and debris, junk motor vehicles, and insecure, unsafe, or structurally defective building that have accumulated on the property known as 25 River Road, Hinckley, Ohio. Parcel number 01603B as in boy, 03023, owned by Vaso Mahalovic Jr. Whereas Ohio Revised Code, section 505.86 authorizes a board of township trustees to provide for the removal, repair, or securance of buildings or other structures in the township that are declared insecure, unsafe, or structurally defective. Whereas the Ohio Revised Code, section 505.87 authorizes the board of township trustees by resolution to provide for the abatement, control, or removal of vegetation, garbage, refuse, and other debris from the land in the township if the board determines that the owner's maintenance of the vegetation, garbage, refuge, or other debris constitutes a nuisance. And Ohio Revised Code, section 505.871 authorizes the board of township trustees to remove any vehicles located in the unincorporated territory of the township that the trustees determine to be junk motor vehicles as defined in ORC section 505.173E. And whereas the Hinckley Township Board of Trustees on July 18th, 2023, by resolution 071823-02, ordered the removal of trash, refuge, debris, vegetation, and approximately 16 junk motor vehicles and the repair, removal, or securance of the unsafe building shed at 25 River Road, Hinckley, Ohio, parcel number 01603B03023, owned by Vaso Mahalovic Jr. In the order, the trustees set August 22nd, 2023 as a date for the hearing to permit Vaso Mahalovic Jr. or any record lien holders to challenge the order. Whereas the trustees gave notice of the order by a certified mail return receipt requested addressed to Vaso Mahalovic Jr., which was not responded to, and 2, the order was hand-delivered on July 19th, 2023 to Vaso Mahalovic Jr. by Tom Wilson, zoning inspector, Tom Zablotny, assistant zoning inspector, and police officer at the property of 25 River Road, Hinckley, Ohio, parcel number 01603B03023. 3, the order was published in the Medina County Gazette on July 21st, 2023, and 4, a public hearing notice was advertised on August 8th, 2023 regarding the 25 River Road, Hinckley, Ohio, parcel number 01603B03023. Whereas the Hinckley Township zoning inspector was not contacted by the property owner or any representative of the property owner to request a hearing with the township trustees to challenge this order at the hearing on August 22nd, 2023. Whereas on August 22nd, 2023, the trustees convened a hearing on the matter. Vaso Mahalovic Jr. was not present on August 22nd, 2023 at the Hinckley Township meeting. Vaso Mahalovic Jr. did not present any evidence that the identified vehicles were not junk, and Vaso Mahalovic Jr. did not present any evidence that the property has been cleared of vegetation, garbage, refuse, and other debris. And Vaso Mahalovic Jr. did not present any evidence that the unsafe, and structure defective building shed had been secured. Whereas the Hinckley Township Assistant Zoning Inspector testified that the junk vehicles, the unsecure, unsafe, and structurally defective building shed, and the vegetation, garbage, refuge, and other debris has not been removed as required by the order. Now therefore it be resolved that the Board of Trustees of Hinckley Township reaffirm their determination that the owner's maintenance of the vegetation, garbage, refuge, and other debris constitutes a nuisance. The building is unsecured, unsafe, and structurally defective building shed, and the approximately 16 vehicles are junk. Section 1, the Board of Trustees of Hinckley Township directs the removal of all vegetation, debris, and trash on the property owned by Vaso Mahalovic Jr. on 25 River Road, Hinckley, Ohio, parcel number 01603B03023. Section 2, the trustees direct its removal and dispose of the approximately 16 junk motor vehicles. Section 3, the trustees direct the removal of unsecure, unsafe, and structurally defective buildings, shed. Section 4, the trustees authorize Tom Botany, Assistant Zoning Inspector of Hinckley Township, to enter into an agreement with the Black River Salvage to remove all the junk motor vehicles, the unsecure, unsafe, and structurally defective buildings, shed, and all vegetation, garbage, refuse, and other debris. Section 5, that the Hinckley Township Fiscal Officer is hereby authorized to place the expenses incurred by the township trustees in the removal of the debris upon the tax duplicate as a lien upon property owned by Vassal Mahalovic Jr. on 25 River Road, Hinckley, Ohio, parcel number 01603B03023.
Second,
Seconded by Sweattick.
do you want to, no, I'm asking for a second. Do you have a second? You
Oh, I
want a
thought
second,
that was
Monique?
you.
Second.
Second by Monique, discussion. I would ask, Tom, you listened to this, and I just want to verify that you did look at all the items on the property and ascertain that there has been no action on any portion of this, correct?
Well, this morning, since I didn't have a search warrant, I didn't stroll up the entire property. I
You have
just
to
visually inspected.
use the mic.
Judy's taking minutes.
Sorry.
Okay, this morning, I didn't inspect, the entire property because I, of course, didn't have a search warrant to go onto the property. However, I just observed what I can see from pulling in the driveway and noticing that obviously there is still junk vehicles, debris.
But you weren't able to tell if there are any of the other items on here?
No, I didn't do a full inspection of the property.
So there's no way to know if he is making any progress on any portion of it, just what you could see from the roadway?
No,
Well, and as the prosecutor just stated, the onus was on him to contact us and let us know if he was going to be doing any type of removal.
Well, my concern is the statement in here says that he did that.
He did testify that he didn't see any change.
I saw no change in any progress from what I can observe by pulling in the driveway and looking.
I mean, you
Because
can add
yeah.
that line if you want to.
And did you say that it was hand delivered to his daughter? With
According to
Chief
Chief, yeah, according to Chief Setner, he, oh, no, he didn't hand deliver it to daughter. He emailed the information to the daughter,
Okay.
according to what he said.
So this says that the last order was hand delivered to him by you, Tom, and a police officer?
Yeah, I basically hand delivered the order to Mr. Milosevic, yes.
Saw him.
Okay,
So I did see him and hand delivered the order to him. Since, I believe yesterday, we checked with the post office, for the, certified mail delivery of the order to see if he accepted it, but he didn't accept that. So, no, he did not accept the certified mail delivery of the order. But he did accept the hand delivery order. Yeah, I gave him that.
And it was published.
so what can we add in here, Heidi, to clean that up to reflect that we did not?
I'm gonna go ahead and amend it to say that the Hinckley Township Assistant Zoning Inspector testified that the junk vehicles, the unsecure, unsafe, and structurally defective buildings, shed, and the vegetation, garbage, refuge, and other debris had not been removed as required by the order from his typical vantage point in the driveway.
You good with that?
Yeah, typical observation point from the driveway. Yeah.
I mean, if he has started progress, the benefit is when you go in to clean up, there'll be a reduced bill. Because
Yeah.
if things were missing that you did not see, so.
Yeah.
Can I get a second?
Any further discussion?
Mm-mm. Second is amended.
Second is amended. I call the roll. Augustine.
Yes.
Asherle.
Yes.
Sweattick, yes.
When I spoke to Chief Setner about this specific case, he did not find anything in the past of this gentleman, as was previously stated publicly. So we can have conversation now or at the next meeting with regard to how you want to handle police presence.
Well, the chief would have to be present for that, I would think.
And you'd have to coordinate with the salvage yard for the salvage yard to be, when they could be there on the dates as well.
Mhm.
I imagine that most of the salvage yards are accustomed to all types of scenarios.
Tom, you'll have to work with Martha to make sure.
Well, yeah, I was gonna, I have a few questions, ask you yet on these salvage affidavits.
Yes.
Make sure that they're properly filled out and then.
Martha will.
Yeah,
will-
yeah, then I'll-
Martha will make
turn 'em
sure we
over.
got those. filled
Yeah,
out
I'll turn them
properly.
over to Martha then afterwards.
Has there been any, Heidi, can you answer, has there been any movement by the health department on their end?
So what the issue is with the health department is they cannot deal with the junk motor vehicles, which you have
Understand that.
16 of them. Secondly, because there are so many of these across the township, they cannot physically go in and clean up every one of these properties. Their budget just does not allow for it. So even though there is an avenue, it's a limited avenue with the health department. You did take them to court through that. The health department incurred court costs, which they cannot get back now. And they were not able to force them through a court order to get this done. So their avenue is very limited in the cleanup on how you can go through and file contempt. And we've done this before on a previous resident in Hinckley. It just incurs more and more court cost, but you don't get results.
They're not able to do the same thing that we did here this evening?
No, not with the junk motor vehicles, not to the extent that you were able to do, no.
Well,
The
things that
only-
fall under their purview.
The only things that they've been successful in working with the health department is on limited issues, we can work with them on tires. They can get specialized grants through the EPA for tires. And even that is tricky because if somebody brings tires to their house, they deliberately did that action and you cannot clean them up on that property then. The health department's hands are closed. If tires were dropped off at a random location, the health department can get a grant and help clean up that area. But other than that, the health department is limited even with tires. And the same thing happens, it has to go back on their property taxes.
And the nuisance is related more specifically to our zoning resolution.
Correct. So it's a harder avenue and it's one that it's very difficult for our office to go down and health department financially to go down. Because if you list, it was $30,000 to take down one house, we took down, there was another one was 17, 20,000. If you started adding these up across 17 townships, the health department cannot financially
But
afford
there's
that.
no way for them to put a tax lien on the same as we did.
They don't have the money to expend forward and they cannot go in and clean up the cars. So this house is 17 cars. His primary nuisance is cars. And they have no authority over junk motor vehicles. So they're very limited in this scenario. So it's, like I said, tires even they're limited. So we have an issue with tires in several of our issues. And I'm thinking it would be nice down the road if a group could get together to look at different grants, look at different opportunities, and look at countywide cleanup and what they can do. But right now we are limited to this have more township cleanup days. Would residents bring more stuff to us?
That was one of the things I had talked about.
And there are grants and EPA things for that. There are avenues. It's I wish there were more resources out there for individuals who have, in particular, issues with managing their own cleanups, but they're not. And I think that's something that if a group could get together, the EPA, the health department, townships, and come up with a game plan, it would be nice to see if there were pooled resources that could occur. Could you have discounted days? But if an individual is not driving their tires to the cleanup place, you're not going to get, even if you offer a discount to collect them, if they're not complying, they're not going to do that. So you can open up avenues, but if they're not willing to comply.
Well, and especially with the time frame, you look at this one and it's been, so many years that we haven't seen any type of compliance. I just want to take a moment and thank you, Tom, for all of your work on this. I know this has not been an easy endeavor, and I know that you've been kind of notating the policy and procedure as you go through so that
Yeah.
we're ready in case there's another one. Also, Heidi, I want to thank you because I know that you've been rewriting these resolutions for us
Thank
as
you.
we've been navigating it. So thank you so much for all your work and for being here tonight.
I would just offer, I look at this as a test case. I despise having to do this tonight. I know
Yeah.
it's been a long-standing thing. I don't like putting this kind of intervention on any resident of the community.
Yeah.
I'm concerned about the individual. I wish he had additional help out there somehow. And the only reason I agreed to do this is it sounds like it'll be minimal impact financially as it's spread out over the years for him. But I hope that we keep a close eye on him to make sure he's okay relative to the impact that we're having on his personal life.
Yeah.
I completely agree with you.
Oh, yeah.
Trustee Sweattick, this is a hard thing to tackle and to put any type of tax lien on someone's home. But in many ways, I've been told by other trustees, the way they think about it is oftentimes we're helping them.
And think about it, you are coordinating, you are moving the stuff off of them, and you are, you're getting the best price to do this. You're not, so in a way it is, if someone is not capable of doing it themselves, you are helping them move forward in that process.
Well, I agree. It's not something that I wanted to do. It still somewhat feels like a bit of an overstep to be doing this, but it would have been, I was more encouraged after we spoke about this last, after Chief Sentner had said that he had spoken to the daughter and the son, and they were going to create a plan and start making some forward progress on it. So we did not have to get to this point.
Yeah.
So it's really disappointing that nothing came of that and that they have not even returned his phone calls.
No.
So I feel, bent over backwards with the process, which is why this has been delayed, because we were really trying to work with the property owner.
Yeah.
And I mean, even when we were originally contacted with this property, I thought based on his letters and stuff, there was encouragement. I even reached out to Melissa and we said, can you talk to him? Can you do this? And we tried.
We really tried. I went to his door myself.
For over a year to try to get contact with them. And it wasn't there. But in the end, he'll have a clean property that he'll be able to enjoy, and it'll be safer. You're not going to have varmints living in those cars. You're not going to have trash that's potentially, hazardous for him.
And I know the neighbors will be very pleased with our efforts as well.
Yeah.
Any further comments? Public? Thank you. I will make a move to adjourn at 7 p.m.
Second.
Seconded by Asherle, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.